But as I started doing it, I was becoming sort of the script writer, the presenter, the editor, the cameraman, and it was all those sort of skills homed in to one, and it was just really interesting to be a part of like all of it and learn the whole sort of production behind it.
Hey guys, it's Matt Haycox here, and welcome to another episode of the Matt Haycox Show, where again I've got another fantastic guest that we are all going to learn so much from today, especially if you're looking to grow a personal brand or if you've got a business that you're looking to kind of transport online to YouTube, to social. I've got with me Ollie White, YouTube extraordinaire, YouTube and social superstar. I've actually got his stats in front of me. I kind of don't want to say them because it makes me feel completely inadequate. But no, as we sit here today, Ollie has got over 1.4 million Instagram followers, 2.75 million YouTube subscribers, and your videos have been viewed over 466 million times.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, I feel weak. I feel very weak.
Lucky.
But guys, now obviously super expert. We're going to be talking all about, I guess, the history to his career, content creation, how you guys can create content relevant to your brand and make your mark in this often very misunderstood world. And then even more, I guess, interestingly, we're going to move on to talk about Unique, which is Ollie's new product in the CBD world. An area that's getting so much press and so much hype and knowledge at the moment. Ollie's launched it. He's actually launched it during lockdown, along with his partner, fellow YouTuber.
She's not a YouTuber. She does some influencer stuff.
Fellow influencer Evie, and I've got a goodie box here. I'm actually going to do my first YouTube unboxing. Maybe that's going to get me some subscribers. But Ollie, thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you for letting me be here.
I mean, how did it all begin?
So it was about 9 years. So I've been doing YouTube for about 9 years, and I was raised in a village. There wasn't really like much to do, and I came across YouTube, and I just thought it was a really interesting platform where you could upload a video and people from around the world could watch that and comment and subscribe. And I think I just became fascinated about like the viewers and how much views a video could get. And I watched a lot of other YouTubers, and some of them would get 1,000 views and others would get tens of thousands and some would get hundreds of thousands. And I thought that is so interesting. And in that time, there was no way to monetize YouTube. There was no big brands really on YouTube. It was just solely like almost this weird bubble of like video diaries or like performances that people were sort of putting online. And I thought, you know what, like why don't I just give this a go? And the first videos I made, they were like super cringy, like the worst videos ever. But that was kind of like the start of like what's now very luckily turned into what it has today.
But were you just looking at it for fun back then? Is it the same way that someone would just go on Instagram because they want to post a few pictures? You were never looking to monetize it?
Oh no, I mean there wasn't a way to do that. I mean I didn't start earning money on YouTube until like after 2 years of like being on it. I mean originally,
how many subscribers did you have at that point?
Oh, probably like a couple of thousand. But originally I actually did like gaming videos, and then I did that for a bit, and I then moved over and wanted to sort of be more on camera. And after I build my confidence up from sort of just talking on games and stuff, I wanted to be more sort of present. And I really actually wanted to go into like visual effects. I wanted to like edit videos and sort of go into more like the film space. But as I started doing it, I was becoming sort of the script writer, the presenter, the editor, the cameraman, and it was all those sort of skills homed in to one. And it was just really interesting to be a part of like all of it and learn the whole sort of production behind it.
And were you working at the time doing anything else? I mean, how old were you? You were being, what, 18, 19?
Yeah, I mean, when I first sort of was doing gaming stuff, I was like 14, 15, 16, and then sort of around about 17 years old, I started my channel where I was sort of more prominent on it. I didn't have a job then, but I went to college and then I got a weekend job, so I was working in a shop called Fat Face, clothes shop. Literally worked like 2-3 hours on a Saturday and Sunday. Hated it because my vision, and I was so passionate. I wanted YouTube to become something, and I had this idea of like sort of Ollie White being the brand. So I had like a reviews channel, I had like a news channel, I had like a gaming channel. So I wanted like Ollie White to be sort of the middle of it, and then creating different sort of outlets from that.
And do you still have those different outlets, or did it merge into one, or did you kind of jettison some that weren't working?
Yeah, so I actually have 3 YouTube channels. So I have my main one with 2.7 million subscribers, but I have a vlogging one which is almost like a video diary with 1.1 million subscribers, and then have a gaming channel which I play games, which has, I think it's just under 500,000 subscribers. So I've created those sort of 3 outlets. I think now I would more focus on having one or two than that many.
What do you think the mentality and logic behind the gaming channels is? I guess I'm probably too old for it. But, my daughter, well, I mean, she's 14 now, but I remember, let's say 4 years or so ago, she'd sit all Saturday afternoon watching people play Minecraft.
Yeah.
And literally, you're just thinking it's no different to almost being sat in Dixon's. What's this all playing? But this person she's watching is like a superstar with millions of followers earning. How do you make a good gaming video when all it looks like?
I think the gaming industry, and especially with like commentary and like videos of games, is just blowing up. Like, it's just getting bigger and bigger. And I think what it is, it's the personality of the person playing that game, but it's also sort of like what they do and sort of how they interact with the game. You can either watch them because they're like amazing at the game and you've never seen someone as good as that, or they've got a funny commentary that they would sort of do things that were funny that you've never seen before. I mean, myself, like I will sometimes be watching a gaming video and I think, my word, I've been watching this for like an hour, nearly 2 hours now. Like, I could be playing it, but actually I'm enjoying more watching it than I am playing. So it's like that thing of watching TV, or I suppose like watching sports. Obviously it's very different, but now they're having like massive competitions with games. So I suppose if you're brought up with playing video games and you absolutely love this one specific game, and then you've got these influencers or players that are playing it professionally, it's almost like you're supporting that team. And I think it's the gaming sort of esports, I suppose.
And you were saying just a minute ago that you probably advocate narrowing your focus and narrowing your channels. Why have you come to that realization or decision now?
Yeah, so like back when YouTube was sort of like forming, it was like very apparent that like if you had different types of content, you'd make a different channel for it. Now it's very different. Like, you just make up a channel and you'd kind of do whatever you wanted on that channel, if it was a gaming video, if it was this or that. But then it was very much like you'd see another YouTuber, they'd make up a gaming channel all of a sudden, and then you think, well, if I want to do gaming videos, then I've got to make up another channel as well. So it sort of took into these three channels, and gaming for me is like not a prominent thing like I do really at all. Like, I will create some content here and there, but really like that's not something that I do. My second channel, my vlogging channel, is more of like a day in the life, like video diary in a way. And then my main channel is more sort of like structured content. So it might be like, what's better, what's better, a Big Mac from actual McDonald's, or like recreating that yourself. So it's more like structured content in a way. So it's like a recent video that my brother and I did was like reacting to old Instagram photos. So we were looking from like the very first photos we ever did, and that's kind of like the concept. Whereas a vlog would more be like following through the day, like getting you involved. Oh, right, I'm here doing this interview, and like, what am I going to do later? It's kind of like that day feeling, I suppose.
I'm thinking about a niche for myself in the gaming channel for the old people, and it could be me playing Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
or me with my Commodore
playing old school
64.
games. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do that. They play old school games, and like I think there is so much you can do.
Already been beaten to it. But tell me, I mean, your vlogging channel kind of interests me, because when we talk Instagram.
Yeah.
And we talk about if I'm advising people in terms of content creation, or not even so much about the content to create, but just about pushing people to get on social, pushing people to be able to create content. And a big stumbling block, once we get past cringing and not wanting to see yourself on camera, etc. Another big stumbling block for people is not knowing what content to create.
Yeah.
And and again, it's very much a Gary V type strategy or mentality, but I think people really overthink it and really have to start thinking about, what am I creating, when really if they're documenting their journey, documenting their day, or just documentation versus creation. And I mean, does that tally in any way with your vlog? I mean, how do you create content that keeps people interested?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think at the end of the day, you've got to do something that's natural to you and that you enjoy. I mean, I used to vlog so much more back in the day when I was doing so much like traveling with friends, and we were going to events and we were going to this place and that place because it was really interesting. Nowadays, it's like we're in lockdown, can't really do much, and it is really hard to find something to film and vlog about and talk about, and almost like sometimes if it doesn't come natural to you, like force doing that. You know, I really try and not sort of like force content. I'll naturally do something if I feel like it fits right. But you know, in other situations you will, and I overthink stuff a lot. Like when TikTok first came out, I was posting content all the time, and then all of a sudden I just started like overthinking the content so much, like, oh, I need to do this, but I need to make it so much bigger than this or better than this, and I started overthinking it so much that I then just like stopped making content on it. And it was up until like yesterday I was like, hold on a minute, I could do that, I could do this, like this person's done this, I could recreate that in a funnier or better way. And I think like people do, they worry, they have that like anxiety of like, is it going to be good enough? Like with Instagram, I mean, you know, people get an anxiety about, is this photo going to get more likes than the last one? If it doesn't, then am I going to lose followers? Is that it for then my Instagram influencer career? And I think social media is amazing, but it also has its like massive downfalls of like not giving people that ideal world of like what things are like. You know, Instagram's very, you know, you put your best stuff out there of what you want people to see, but you've got no idea how that person's actually feeling inside or how their life actually is. You know, you can fake anything really. So yeah.
So something I talk about quite a lot, I was actually talking about when I was recording a podcast with somebody else earlier, is about kind of, I guess, cross-platform movement of your customers, your viewers, and obviously, yeah. I mean, you know, you've got what we said, 2.5 million plus on YouTube, you know, 1.4 million on Insta. I mean, are you also? Well, you say you're on TikTok. Are you on Twitter? Are you on Facebook? And how much of a conscious effort have you made, as in, you know, to actually move those people from YouTube to Insta? Or,
yeah.
You know, and what's your kind of views with that? I guess the reason we talk about it is that, you know, people fail to realise that you don't own those viewers, those customers. You know, you don't have the data, and that, you know, should one of those platforms kick you off or shut down tomorrow, you know, you're fucked. And you know, there's just far too many. Well, I'd say probably the majority of influencers, celebrities, you know, who are very strong on one platform but non-existent on all the others.
Yeah.
And it would be so simple. I mean, even if you don't want to have any strategy, just as the simplest strategy, just open an account on every platform and post the same content on each one.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not the best strategy, but it's certainly better than doing nothing and not being on there. And obviously, you're dominating on two. Has that been a conscious effort?
I mean, like, I definitely have the platforms that I focus on for like the original content. So for YouTube, like, that is my bread and butter. Like, that's where everything started for me. Like, I like long form video content. I always have. That's also the platform that is monetized, which, you know, allows me to do what I do and, you know, pays my bills and, you know, it makes it a career, I suppose. I also have a conscious effort though when I am creating of, as you said, putting that content, either if it's in a cut down way or it's edited differently on other platforms, because content that may not have worked on your YouTube video doesn't mean that if you edit it in a different way, it can't then work for TikTok in a short form way or like an Instagram way. So some of the videos that I'll do with like bigger concepts, what I'll do is those videos are sort of added personality for my viewers, and I'll do like, you know, call to actions, like I'll comment below and do this. But then if we were going to cut that down for Facebook, I almost like remove all of like my actual personalness to that video and make it more of just, if a random person was watching that, like, would they be able to just enjoy the video without knowing like who I am or what I'm doing? So I think you can definitely like take an original bit of content that you've done work on one platform and use it for others. I think it sometimes needs editing or shortening, or specific bits of that video is used for other platforms for sure. I don't think you could just do one thing and just like put that same thing on another platform. I think it would need to be original in some way.
I was going to ask you earlier about lockdown and Corona and how that's affected you. I mean, I know you then you were then saying yourself that it's been tougher to create content during lockdown because, you know, there's been less things for you to do. But content creation aside, I mean, have you seen viewer numbers go up because people are, you know, at home with nothing else to do, or, you know, has there been you know, negative issues? Yeah.
So like when we like first went into like that hard lockdown period, I actually decided to take like a month month off YouTube. As I said, I've been on the platform for like 9 years now, and I never really miss like a week. So I upload every single week on my main channel, and then I do sort of vlogs like and gaming videos like when I can and I have free time. But I decided to just have a month off to just sort of like really rethink and sort of re-strategize and just have that sort of like just thinking moment of like, what do I actually want to do? Like, do I want to do something different? Like, how can I make this better? But it was definitely tough. I mean, I actually focused more on some gaming content when we were in that lockdown because it was easy for me and my brother to film. Obviously, you know, he couldn't come to London, and he's sort of quite a co-host in my videos. We do a lot of stuff together because our interaction together, we're two completely different people. So the dynamic of it works amazingly. But it was a real struggle. You know, there wasn't really much stuff to vlog a day in the life because I'm in my apartment. And I think another thing that's quite hard is that like my apartment is also where I live and chill and relax, but it's also like where I work. I have my little office in one of the rooms, but you know, I'm also like filming, and it does become hard when you sort of use that crossover where you're living in your personal space, but it's your work and you're filming, so you have to always think, well, what's in the background? Like, you know, do I want to show that? And it does prove
pair of pants.
It's just anything, I suppose. It's just like, you know, it's like you know, me just going into your house and just sort of filming and that's that. And that is how YouTube is. You've got to be transparent, but also aware of like how much you're putting out there as well, because I think it's good to, you know, you've got to be comfortable with what you're putting out there. And, you know, I think some YouTubers, they struggle, they put too much out there, and then they've got to kind of like retract back some of that private life, because the private life is just on there for everyone to see.
So I've got one more question for you, YouTube related, then we can do the grand unboxing. I've been looking at it. It's like Christmas morning.
Just asking you to open it.
When you're not allowed to open it until you've done something with your parents. And you're like, come on. No, just talk a little bit about the monetization of YouTube, because I think it's something that people don't understand at both ends of the spectrum. I think, you know, there's lots of kids out there who like, I want to have a YouTube channel because it's going to make me millions.
Yeah.
And then there's probably a lot of, you know, maybe older people that simply don't even get the head around YouTube and think, you know, how can you make a living out of YouTube? You know, you're just a dosser. You know, you don't work.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the two questions for me would be, how hard is it to start making money out of YouTube? And then the second question would be, how are you actually getting paid?
So I think YouTube, as it is now, is such a competitive platform. Like, if someone was going to start up, you know, and they just wanted to do similar content to what was out there already, it's almost like near impossible. Like, it really, really is. I was in such a lucky period when YouTube was just growing. I met amazing friends that I collaborated with, which in turn, you know, we all grew our audience together, and I was so...
I mean, sorry to interrupt, we talked about a couple of those before we started filming. Mikey Pearce, who's been another guest on the show. Were you guys mates before YouTube, or did you become, I don't mean you and Mikey, all of that gang, or were you all early stage YouTubers who had something common to get together over, and you helped each other?
So the first like kind of YouTubers that like have you know, my friends now to date, and that, you know, I've sort of almost grown up with it in a way from the YouTube platform is I met Joe Sugg. He was sort of like the first YouTuber that like I just instantly clicked with, and I just knew we were like, off the YouTube side of things, we just like got each other, and we just were really good friends. And then I met Casper Lee, and from that, like, we had such an incredible, and still do, personal bond, but we also have that business relationship as well. And it was incredible because as we grew our YouTube following, and, you know, we would be able to then collaborate. So rather than us all being on it on our own and not really like knowing what to do, we had then a support group, and, you know, we pretty much lived together. We traveled the world together, we went to events together, we did everything. And you know, I think it was that support that sort of really kept me going, like, through YouTube, because, you know, there are a lot of negatives to it. You are open to criticism and negative comments and things that go wrong, like, all the time. Like, it's like with anything in life, you know, there's always ups and downs. I mean, I think to answer your question about the you know, sort of the monetization side, a lot of people, and the misconception is that YouTube is a very easy thing because you just film yourself and put it up there, but there's so much actual skill and knowledge that has to go into it. From, you know, if you were going to film a video, well, you need to know how to operate a camera. You firstly need a camera, you know, so that's money up front already. You need to learn how to edit. That's a skill that can take a long time. You need to know how to then use Photoshop or have a graphics designer to be able to create an enticing thumbnail. And sometimes thumbnails can take like a day to like design in like the right way. You might make one and just go, that's just not going to do it, because it's about like YouTube. Back in the day, you could just do a picture of yourself, upload it, get views, great, because there's not that many people on the platform. But now you're competing against literally millions of people that are also trying to be YouTubers. And I think with the monetization, like there's a couple of different ways. Obviously, you can monetize your channel. So with the views that you get, you'll earn an amount of money per 1,000 views you get. So it might be 50p per 1,000 views, or it might be £1, or it might be £2, and that depends from, you know, what advertisers, if they're specifically marketing you and they really want their adverts to be on your videos, or, you know, they're just general ads that Google are putting out there. So it can really fluctuate, and I think that's another thing, is that there's no sort of set income that you're going to do. Like, you know, if you upload 1 week or 1 month and you get an amazing video, you could earn set amount. But then if you then upload the next month and you get no views, you'll then it could just be minus by 10 times, you know, reduced. So there's that sort of risk with it as well. And then the other way is, you know, working with brands and sponsorships, and making videos around with brands and stuff like that.
And obviously, you're super long in the game now, and you know, I'm sure your brands crawling all over you. But when you first started, how were you getting those brands? Were you outreaching to them, or had people started to see you? Did you have an agent?
Yeah. So in the very start, as I said, like YouTube was like in this place where advertisers didn't really understand like what YouTube was, what YouTubers were, and how they could advertise and like market on the platform. So it definitely took a while, but then as like some companies sort of like dipped their toe in it and did sort of big campaigns with YouTubers, they then saw, well, hold on a minute, this is a platform where we need to advertise on and work with influencers as well. So I got my first like couple of brand deals like through myself, and then I realized, well, I need someone to represent me to be able to, you know, say no to things, or to, you know, actually push for what my worth is. You know, in the first instance of YouTube, like, you know, I was doing things for just like nothing, like literally absolutely nothing. Whereas now, like when you have someone that can represent you and that knows sort of what you're worth, they can, you know, very much negotiate on your behalf. It'd be quite awkward for you to be like, oh no, I need to be paid a bit more because, or we need to take this out the contract. So it's definitely better like once you obviously have someone, you know, representing you in a team that you can like slowly build out. But again, it's like you have to kind of get to that size and stage before like, you know, managers and companies want to, you know, take that representation position.
I think you said you were on there for 2 years before you got a penny.
Yeah. I mean, massively. I was working a Saturday and Sunday job, just like 2 hours, at Fat Face, and that was it. And my parents said to me, they were like, as soon as you earn money on YouTube, that covers that. As soon as you earn as much money on YouTube as you do that, then you can leave. And when I did, it was just like the best thing ever. But I went through really rubbish things where I signed contracts that just like completely messed me over, and I was oblivious to things. And even earning, you know, £10 for a video, I was just buzzing. I was like, this is insane. Like, how can something that I've been doing for 2 years, where I'm just like messing around, can actually earn me a little bit of money? Like, that was, you know, incredible. I've always been an entrepreneur from like the very start. You know, I'd sell sweets in schools, and we had chickens, and I'd then go around the village and sell their eggs for £1 at a time. And like, there was always things that I was always looking to do. That's what
the girl who I was talking to this morning, she was selling eggs.
Really?
She almost made us think she was selling her own eggs. But I mean, it did transpire they were chickens.
Yeah, you know, there's always been things that I've wanted to do to just, you know, make businesses and, you know, generate an income with that. And I'm very lucky and very fortunate to be in the position I am now.
Well, you've given me a perfect segue into business now. So you can tell this is why you've got 2.5 million followers and I've got 6.
Yeah. So new business that started, that we've been, me and my girlfriend Evie have been working on for the last year, is Unique CBD. The actual company came about a while ago. My mum was very ill. She had breast cancer, and she was going through, and our family was going through just like a very terrible, awful time. You know, I can't imagine, what she was going through. And, you know, also, you know, with going through chemotherapy, just like the mental side of things, from the stress, the anxiety, the lack of confidence. And she had a friend that was similarly going through the same thing. And she said, she suggested to my mum, well, I'm taking these CBD capsules from America, like, why don't you take them? And my mum took them. And
was it all an American thing at the time?
Yeah, I mean, CBD is like relatively newer in the UK for sure, but it was, a thing in America. And, she tried them for a while, and then she later stopped because she went to Dubai, and Dubai have very strict rules on CBD or anything like that. So she stopped taking them then, and sort of down the line with YouTube and going to premieres and having comments and different things, I had this just such like pressure and anxiety constantly about like what people thought of me. And I was doing book signings, and it'd be 1,000 people a day that I'd be meeting, and it was that anxiety, the pressure, and just like I just couldn't switch off. I just couldn't stop. So my mum recommended that I tried some CBD. So I was searching around, normally one of the main places you go to, Amazon, searched in CBD, and up until very recently, all of the products were pretty much hemp seed oil. So they had very trace amounts of CBD in it, if not anything in it.
Just for anyone who doesn't know, maybe me.
Yep.
What does CBD stand for?
It's cannabidiol.
Right.
Yeah, so they were hemp seed products, and we bought them, and then later realised once we were doing research that they weren't CBD products at all, and we were like, well, this is crazy, because there's going to be so many other people in our position that like want a natural supplement to help them in some way or another that aren't getting that. So we then looked at actual CBD companies, and there was a lot of things that we were just shocked by, is that a lot of their brandings was like a lot of like cannabis leaves, and we bought a couple, and like the taste was just like horrible. And also as well, we were very concerned about like sort of the safety in the lab reports, because there was nothing to say that like there was no THC in the products that would get you high. There was they hadn't done like tests of like pesticides, heavy metals, solvents to have the safety in the product and the trust in it. So we did intense research for like a year basically, and understood sort of all the ins and outs of the business, went through the shit side of it as well, from people just faking things and having crappy products and trying to sell you this. Spoke to loads of manufacturers, and then we came across a neuroscientist who was just so smart, just knew everything, every scientific element of it he knew. And we actually decided to create a custom formula of CBD products. One of the things that a lot of brands do is that they're normally like a white label product. So you'll have like, it's almost like vape e-liquids, for example. You'll have a big manufacturer, you'll go to them, they'll be like, right, this is the price for 100, and they'll just slap your label on and that's it. But we actually worked on creating it fully custom from the exact like percentage of natural peppermint we wanted in, the other carrier oils, and how it was presented, and everything with our packaging, our bottling, everything is custom. It's not just sort of taken off the manufacturing line and then just sort of made.
Unique by name, unique by
exactly.
nature.
And my mum actually, she said the name as well. When we were thinking about the names, we were just like, we don't know what to do, like what can we do? And she was like, well, you are creating a unique brand, you're wanting to be unique, you're wanting to stand out as being the best. And it just stuck, and we just were like, that's just so true.
It looks very, very slick. I mean, that was my initial thing, and I'm far from an expert in the area, or either as a businessman or a user. But I think people's perception of CBD stuff it's down market, like you said, it's white labeled, it's slapped on. But I mean that feels super clean, super slick. Almost like Apple-like in its presentation. Pharmaceutical.
That's the goal. I mean, we want people to feel confident with the products that they're buying, and we don't want someone to think that they're taking something that might be risky or that might not be publicly accepted in a way. And that's why we've created this very clean, very nice, aesthetically pleasing looking brand. And once we created that custom formula, we gave it to friends and family, and they were just amazed of how amazing it tasted, and just the transparency within it. And our lab reports, we publish everything online.
So your formula for this is completely proprietary, as in I can't buy something similar from someone else.
You could buy something potentially that is similar in a sense, but it's not going to be the exact exact oil as ours.
It's, you are like the Colonel. This is the KFC secret recipe.
Yeah, I mean it is the secret recipe, and I think like for us, it's really important to have a nice tasting product, but also have the correct amount of CBD in it. There are a lot of brands and a lot of companies out there that when they actually get tested, they've got nowhere near the amount of CBD in that they should have, or they test positive for THC, which isn't obviously there's 0.2% THC that you're allowed in the products. We go for no THC. We don't want that in there.
Why do some people want something? Because they want to get high.
There's a conversation around an entourage effect of having all the cannabinoids, sort of together and having the THC cannabinoid in there. But for us, because of the current situation and the grey areas with CBD, we just want to, isolate it to just having CBD in there, which is, the main focus for it. And I think once potential legalization comes into play, and once there's more legislation and regulation around CBD, we'll be able to then market with more products and different things like that.
And what is the legislation around this now? I mean, do you need any permits or permissions to be buying and selling this?
That's the problem. You don't, and there are a lot of companies and people that are doing it for a real quick buck. And our whole aim and goal is we are long term. Like, we have created this to be a very long term brand, and we want to be the best. Like, that's our aim. And I think more importantly, we want to help people. Like, we want to actually provide something that people are buying. If they're paying an amount of money for it, they should have exactly what it is. They should be buying a safe product that they can just scan our QR code, go to our website, and we've got all of our lab reports there, which a lot of companies, they say, oh yeah, we have lab reports, but they make them available on the website. And it's like, well, why do you have them but not make them available? And it's just, we want to take away all the negative stigma of CBD.
And what are the different applications for it? Because obviously, you mentioned it in the context of your mum when she was suffering from the breast cancer. I guess just in day-to-day life, you hear about people, extolling the benefits of CBD for every possible thing whatsoever. It's almost become like the miracle cure, the miracle. I'm tired, so it helps me sleep better, or it makes me wake up better, or it gets rid of pain, or it fixes this, or cures the other. I mean, how many, I guess, genuine and provable benefits are there, and what are the applications?
I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can take CBD. So our day drops is a dropper bottle. So you would take the dosage that you want to take. You would put that under your tongue. You'd hold it there for 60 seconds, and that then allows to get into your bloodstream. There's sprays. There's topical products, so creams. There are gummies. There's even sort of other ones like pillow mist and bath bombs, which we don't understand too much. In a way, I think we want to really focus on like the products that you can get the most out of it, and not create something that's just like a novelty. Like, we wouldn't want to create gummies with these bright sweets that look like they're just sweets, and you just be taking them because they taste nice.
I mean, that's when it starts to no longer look professional and scalable, and pharmaceutical. And it's cheesy.
Exactly, and I think a lot of people they don't really understand how CBD interacts. And I mean, you probably won't know this, but we all actually have an endocannabinoid system in our body. So the CBD, it's not an inhibitor; it's actually a regulator. So if you're waking up in the morning and you're feeling a certain way and you're feeling unbalanced, well, CBD actually helps interact with the endocannabinoid system to balance you out. So I mean, there's so much behind it that people just sort of don't understand, which we're hoping to educate in a sense. I mean, we have to be very careful as well with the educating side of things, because we are selling products. We can't say that CBD will do this for you. We have to be very, very, very careful. And if people are looking at it for a specific thing that they're trying to use, then there's a lot of articles out there. Harvard Health and different articles about how CBD can work with you and how it can potentially help, but we as a company we can't talk about that, which is quite frustrating. There are a lot of amazing stories out there. There is a lot of evidence out there for certain things, and before we actually started selling products, we were actually wanting to educate people a lot more, and just more sort of let them know about the body and the system and how things work.
I mean, when you've got top athletes, top CEOs, etc., saying that they are advocates of it, and and big users, etc. I mean, what benefits are they getting from it? Because go back to the rebalancing in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things that people could be taking CBD for. I mean, CBD is, personally, I take CBD for like stress and anxiety. I take it in the morning, and a lower amount of CBD. There's been talks about it helping increase focus capacity and also making you feel balanced. And then a higher amount of CBD during the evening. There's some research out there that says that it can help you feel better when you have a better night's sleep. You get that more deep sleep rather than that light sleep, and just sort of winds you down. There's honestly so many different ways because everyone is different and CBD interacts with everyone's endocannabinoid system differently. So one person might be using a topical product because they may have arthritis or joint pain or muscle pain. Another person might just be taking it as as you would have your skin routine. They might just be taking it as a routine to just aid their health and wellness better.
I was climbing Kilimanjaro about 3 weeks ago, and I suffered from every kind of lack of sleep and dodgy joint and everything imaginable. I feel like I wish I'd met you a month ago, and I would have filled my rucksack with CBD. I actually had Levi Root. Do you know Levi Root's Reggae Sauce?
Yeah.
I had him on one of my very early podcasts, and back then I used to have a few standard questions that I asked everybody, and one of them was, if I was going to invest in you in a business that is not what you're doing now, what would it be? And Levi didn't hesitate. He was like, cannabis. And I guess I'm telling you that to kind of, contextualise with CBD, but I actually, looking back, I don't think Levi meant he was going to invest in CBD. I think he wanted me to buy him a bag of weed. But jokes aside, undoubtedly this is an absolutely enormous growth area for the UK. Very conceivably, potentially one of the next £1 billion businesses. One of the unicorns, as they say. I mean, what's your plans for growth? How are you going to scale this more? How are you going to make it more mainstream?
So at the moment we have been I would say kind of lightly pushing the business in a way. Like, we don't want this to be the Ollie White brand. Like, it's got nothing to do with my YouTube. And we are out there to create the highest quality product and for people to be comfortable with buying it and to be transparent with them as well. So we have our day drops, which we have in 3 different sizes, 3mm, 10mm, 30mm. We're also then working on our night drops, which will be out soon. And then we're then going to be focusing on topical products, so creams and serums, different things like that. And I think really we're gaining a lot of attraction already, and our products are very actually competitively priced from what's out there already, and I feel like just the look and the feel of our brand is 10 times better than what some of them are presenting themselves as. Obviously we'd be looking at the moment we're only selling in the UK, so we'll be looking to then expand into Europe and then into the US sector. And I think then once potential legalization of THC and other products and there's more of a legislation and regulation rather than the grey area, we will kind of be able to understand where is CBD going and where can we really sort of focus on it. But really it's kind of like it's a side business that we wanted to create to kind of be the best, but also to be a company that can help people if possible, but at least provide them with a choice that they can take, that they can feel comfortable and they can see those lab reports and know what they're buying.
So where can people find it? How do they buy it?
So at the moment we're selling on our website, uniquecbd.co.uk. That's where we're at the moment. We are in conversations and in talks about going into retail. I think for us, we want to be very specific about where we want to go into. I think the likes of Selfridges, Harvey Nichols, Harrods, that's kind of like our brand image and where we would kind of see our products be fitted. I think it's just like it's a sort of not a waiting game, but it's like we want to build up our company and build up that we're trustworthy and people love our products as what we've been getting so far, and we can kind of sort of expand from there.
Awesome. Well, Ollie, thanks a lot for being here, bud.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Super interesting to talk about the YouTube, and I'm very excited to sleep better with my uniquecbd.com tonight.
Perfect stuff.
Other than Unique CBD, just give yourself a quick shout out. Where can they find you on?
Ollie White on YouTube. That's it, Ollie White.
That's O-L-L-I.
O-L-I.
O-L-I.
Yeah, I spell it that. I'm unique, you know.
All right, guys. Well, I'm also unique, and I'm Matt Haycox. So if you've enjoyed watching this, make sure you also subscribe to iTunes, to Spotify, to wherever you get your podcasts from. If you've been listening to the audio version, then you haven't been able to see these pretty boxes from uniquecbd.com. So make sure you check us out on YouTube and all the other social channels. And if you do like, press like. If you like it, also subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you on a future episode with other great guests like Ollie.
Perfect stuff. Thanks for having me, mate.
Thank you.